welcome to this week's edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
I'm Sarah.
And we are going to give you our reading recommendations for the new comic book releases for this week. And let's start with you, Fritz.
Yeah, so my pick this week is the new issue of Detective Comics. Where are we at now? Issue 1071. Been going for a while. But this continues. Ram V, he's been on the book for about over a year now. He's been doing this big operatic gothic story of this old family that's got ties to the founding of Gotham, the Ograms. They've never explicitly said it yet, but it's kind of implied, I think, that they're the family that the Arkhams are descended from. And kind of getting to they've got plans and machinations that they've been working towards for hundreds of years. And this issue kind of gets into more of the origin of just how their family started, where they've got the technology that they're using to basically kind of take over Gotham. And it's super cool. You got a lot of deep cuts with finding out how they're kind of the arch enemies of the Al Ghul family, their connections to each other. A certain other immortal shows up, and he's just delightfully awful in that. You'll know him when you get to him, and yeah, he's great. But no, it's very, the fact that V can do an issue that's a lot of it's just kind of a giant lore dump in terms of the and still that would be super interesting and tense because you realize oh, we're on a ticking clock now in terms of if we can even beat them and stop what they're doing. So that's been the whole run's been super fun. The art's been phenomenal. Ivan Rice does most of the art for this issue, and I mean, if you've been following comics for the last 20 years or so, he always delivers. So highly recommend. Check out the entire run. All the Bat books are doing pretty good right now. This is probably my favorite of them. But yeah, all the Bat, as much as people complain about there being a lot of Batman comics, when they're this good,
right, yeah.
You can't be that mad.
Yeah, very cool. Mm-hmm. Well, Sarah, what did you read this week?
This week I picked Green Arrow #1. And to be truthful with you, I know who Oliver is and stuff, but I don't know a whole lot about Green Arrow. And this, you didn't really need a lot of background information just because Oliver kind of gives you the lowdown.
You get that nice double page spread. It's just here's my history.
Yeah, basically. So I know a little bit about him, but not a lot. So it was kind of nice because he just kind of sums up who he is and who all of his family is essentially. But I like the title. It says it's time for a family reunion, even if it kills them. But as someone who loves personally Batman, one of the things I love the most about that character is his family, and I think that this does a really nice job of capturing the Green Arrow family, and Black Canary. I've always really liked Black Canary, so that was another reason I picked it up. But I think it's just a really solid story. It's leading off into a very interesting, members of the family are disappearing and we don't know where they're going. And so I'm very interested to see where it goes. There's a really heartfelt moment where Roy gets a nice reunion, and
Roy gets a win for the first time in 14 years,
and then it's abruptly ended.
If you're Roy, regardless of anything else, if you're a Roy Harper fan, read this comic.
Yeah, it's solid. So this is one I think I might add to my read list.
They also take a fun shot at how many aliases Roy has.
very much so. AKA.
I also love that and Williams, he did this also with his run on Robin, really trying to get Connor Hawke back on the scene, because he was one of the characters that just stopped existing with the New 52, and now it's just no, let's actually have him out there doing stuff, and it's really nice to have him being there and being a part of the family.
Yeah, agreed. So even if you're like me and you don't know much about Green Arrow, this is a really solid pickup, and what I think will be a really interesting story, and just the ability to explore new characters.
Yeah.
And of course, if you already like
Mhm.
the character, then I think I mean, you could speak more to that, but I think you'll be pleased with it as
Mhm.
well.
And they've said that it's currently just a 6-issue mini. They've said like if it sells well enough, it's going to get up to an ongoing.
So if you like Green Arrow, you really need to
buy
pick it up.
copies.
Yeah.
Make
Well,
us,
and it is.
make us have to get second printings.
It's a great jumping on point, and
Yeah,
I do
it
think
is.
that it's going to be liked by people who haven't really read much for Green Arrow and people
Mhm.
who have. So,
Yeah.
a lot of deep cuts, but it's done easily.
So speaking of colors,
Yeah, let's move on with the color theme too. I think that this is the third time that I have picked Blue Book, number 3. So I believe that I'm 3 for 3. So James Tynion telling an alien abduction story that happens in late 50s, early 60s. I guess I don't really remember, in the northeast part of the United States. Couple out on a drive, see something strange in the sky, and then lose a few hours of their life. And then as their life goes on, they start having some memories about it and talking about it more. And now they're bringing in some people who are experts to try to help them process all of this. This is one of those books that deals in subtlety. So the way that a panel is set up, with this monotone blue and black kind of creepy vibe that lets your mind fill in the blanks. You can almost hear like the X-Files theme song in the background. I was telling you guys earlier that it's like when somebody tells a really good spooky campfire story and everything's kind of dark around you and you're just kind of focused in on that kind of minimalist, you can only see shadows moving and whatever. And then they're talking about the guy with the hook hand or whatever coming to get you. That your mind fills in the blanks with something that makes the hair on the back of your neck stick up. And that's what I get for a vibe out of this book. I can't even really fully explain what it is that's done so well about it. I'm really liking it.
I think a thing, because like I've noticed this with Tynion's a big horror writer, and I think one of his key things when it comes to writing horror is like really playing into like the notion of like what the like characters and the readers for that matter like know to like be real or not, or like just their knowledge in general. Because like Department of Truth, like a lot of the tension is around like, okay, how do you like perceive something as being true or not? Like what, like in the horror, and like what's scarier, the truth or the lies?
Right.
Or like in like Nice House on the Lake, a lot of the horror is in like trying to figure out like what, like who knows what about the situation, like what is the situation even, because they don't even ever have like a full proper grasp of that. Like he really likes to play with just like the terror of not knowing something, or like knowing part of something but not being able to put the full picture together.
Right. Well, and that's exactly
and that's like what he's doing here.
Yeah, and the deeper that you go, the less sure you are of whether the not knowing or the knowing is the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
Like the more that they kind of discover about what happened that evening, or if that's even true, because I don't believe much of anything that is happening, right? In the real world, I don't think that anything that's happening here, aliens, hypnosis, any of that kind of stuff really is real. But it makes for a creepy story, man. It's very enjoyable. And then, again, the backup story that has nothing to do with this, or seemingly has nothing. If they tie all these weird backup stories together somehow, I'll be really surprised. But man, it's just disturbing in a whole different kind of way. This one's about the French Revolution, and not about, there's certainly the beheadings and all of that kind of stuff is the backdrop for this character who does some weird stuff. Just pick it up. It's super bizarre. Yeah. And I know that we had a number of people pick up number 1. We've still got extra copies of number 2. And then, I highly recommend this one. This is great. And if you get to the point where you're missing an issue here or there or whatever, certainly, Dark Horse will be putting out the trade. And I would highly recommend that. So yeah, that's what we've got for this week, I think. So thank you again for joining us. As we say at the end of all of these videos, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, do all that kind of stuff that literally everywhere else tells you to do. And most importantly, if you can, make it down to the shop here. It's worth the drive if you're a ways away, and if you check out the reviews, people will tell you that. If you live locally here, there's absolutely no excuse, so we expect to see you. So thank you, and we'll see you again later.